Welcome to Influential Entrepreneurs, bringing you interviews with elite business leaders and experts, sharing tips and strategies for elevating your business to the next level. Here's your host, Mike Saunders.
Well, hello and welcome to this episode of Influential Entrepreneurs. This is Mike Saunders, the Authority Positioning Coach. Today we have with us Kim Svoboda, who is the CEO of Aspiration Catalyst. Kim, welcome to the program.
Thank you, Mike. So glad to be here with you today.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to chatting with you because I know you've got some exciting things going on in your business. Give us a little bit of background on yourself and then what led you to start your firm, Aspiration Catalyst.
All right. Sounds good. Well, I spent 25 years working for technology companies, and I built and led new sales organizations for them, as well as a few operation functions. So I took businesses from $0 up to millions, and then would sort of hand off once they were steady state and start up the new one. So I guess they call that intrapreneurship.
Yes.
And I love, just sort of the beginning of things and, creating something from nothing. I think that was really, really, very rewarding. And during that time, I figured out this formula for success on like what worked in building a high-performing team and how to lead effectively, in that environment. And that actually led me to the last corporate role I had, which was VP of Sales at a large Fortune 500 technology firm. I was leading a large part of the organization. I had about $1 billion P&L. And found myself on an airplane all the time. And during all that flying around, I realized that I wasn't doing the work that I wanted to do 100% of the time. And it was sort of becoming less and less. I found myself managing up more than I was sort of managing across and down. And I actually had an opportunity to take a break. So I left the company. My husband and I had this dream to travel the world as a family, and the timing was perfect. So at the beginning of 2015, we took off for 8 months, and we visited 5 continents and 26 countries with our 2 daughters, who were 7 and 11 at the time. And it was amazing. That's a whole nother topic that we could go in and talk for a long time about. But while I was out, I really thought about, what is it that I want to do? What's the impact that I want to make, on the world? And it was, the thing that I kept coming back to was this: I love building high-performing teams. I love helping people, either take something from, nothing and make it into something wonderful, or take something that's really good and how do we make it great? And that was where I wanted to focus my time and effort. And so when I came back, I got the kids enrolled back in school again, and then I started my business. And so Aspiration Catalyst was born basically the fall of 2015. And I work with tons of companies, thousands of leaders, helping them become the highest performing leader possible. Actually, I call them bold, excuse-proof, and goal-crushing leaders, and help them build these teams that no matter what happens, they always perform. And the way that we do that is we figure out, what is it that each person can really be contributing, right? What's their best thing? What's sort of their secret sauce? And how do we get them to bring that to our team and then synergize the team so that everybody's doing what they do best? There's, sort of dividing and conquering, and everybody wins individually, and we win as well as, as a team and as a group. So I feel very fortunate to do the work that I do.
Yeah, that sounds amazing, because I think that 8-month sabbatical, which you didn't even probably view it as that, but that kind of allowed you to clarify so many things. And then when you come back for the launch, now you were just totally focused. So you knew exactly what you wanted. And that's a big piece, which I'm sure when you go work with a team, that's one of the first things that you work with the leadership about is what is it that you really want to accomplish, right? Because that has to set the true north.
Yeah, that's 100% right. I think it's like having a clear vision. Like, what is it that we really want to achieve? What matters? Why does it matter? And then, how are we going to go about doing it? And I think, like, more than anything, when leaders have an inspiring vision, that is one of the first ways, one of the most effective ways to get people on board with you, because they're like, hey, I want to go where she's going. Like, that sounds really exciting. I want to be part of that. How do I get on the action? And that,
and
I
do
think
you
is
ever find
important.
that, like today in business, we hear so much about telling stories, and facts tell, but stories sell, and all of that. Do you find that's one of the ways you work with clients to help them communicate their vision to the team with, because like, great, here's our P&L and here's our mission statement, let's go, is not as inspiring as, let me take you on this journey, who's with me?
Yeah, no, I think you're 100% right. I mean, there are so many like great stories that people can tell that really bring things to life. I actually worked for this leader who was absolutely incredible at this. I worked for a telecom company, and he would get on the stage, and within about, I would say 30 to 60 seconds, there wouldn't be a dry eye in the auditorium, because he would tell a story about a customer, about someone that was really, experiencing a big problem or obstacle, and how we helped them, right, as a team, and how motivated and inspired he was. And so, like, just instantly you were like, wow, like, that's amazing. We're doing really important work, and how do I get to, play a role in that? Put me in.
Yeah, it reminds me of like that old kind of a story, and I'm sure you've heard this before, but it's like this guy's walking downtown and he sees these three bricklayers and he goes, hey, what are you guys doing? And the first guy goes, sweating, to my death here in the 100-degree weather. And he goes, oh, okay. And the next guy's like, what are you doing? And he's like, oh, just laying brick. And then the third guy goes, what are you doing? And he goes, well, we are laying bricks for this wonderful new building, which is going to save so many lives because it's going to be a hospital. And so it's all this perspective where the first two are grumbling, and the next guy, even though he's only laying bricks and doing manual labor, he sees the greater vision, and that excites him. And I think that's where, that leader needs to go, look, I don't care whether you're collating papers or filing or doing, major work on project, we can all have a part of this.
That's right. That's right. It was funny that you say that. So I know the same story, but it was the final guy said, I'm building a cathedral. And I actually have that written on my whiteboard in my office. I talk about this with my clients.
Well, I'm sure your version of it is right. I'm just probably manipulating the facts. But the bottom line is exactly right. Yeah, it's like
building something big.
Yeah. Are you even? And the third guy knows he's only laying bricks, but yet he's got that vision in his mind of that end product and that end result, and he feels vested. And I'll bet you when that building's done, he's going to go attend the cathedral. And I think that's the really big pieces. You get buy-in.
Well, and don't you think it's every member of the team has something to contribute that is really important to the mission and success. Like every single person's contribution matters. And so when you've got people sitting on the sidelines and they're not fully contributing, like they're missing out, but so are you. And so that's what I work with my clients is how do we get everyone involved and everybody bringing their best so that we can all achieve this great goal together.
And is there a specific way you do that? Like, do you have anything like, oh, I've created the whatever proprietary system? Because I think that if you were to say to anybody that does leadership consulting, everyone would say, we want to bring the best out of each team member. So what is it that you're bringing to the team that is unique and different? Yeah,
so I do have a process. It's called the BOLD process, right? And, sort of in a nutshell, the B is for brilliance, right? And so brilliance is about casting that vision, having that inspiring vision, and helping everyone see why it matters and why it's important. The O is oneness. Oneness is about who am I? Who am I as a leader? Who am I as a team member? How do I contribute my best? And I use an awesome tool called the Gallup Clifton Strengths Assessment that helps uncover what the unique talents are of each person. I've used this tool for years, long before I, started my business. It is a game changer. And so that's a key component. And then the L is about the lighthouse. So the leader continuing to illuminate the path, making sure to keep everybody on track. And then the D is all about the drive. So how do we get everybody executing in the best way possible? How do we adjust as needed, but really keep our eye on the target and then celebrate our successes along the way?
Yeah, I mean, I love when people have their proprietary signature system, because the neat thing is you've probably been to countless training programs and you take a snippet from this one and a piece from that one and then your personal experience from here and make that into then your signature program, which then is so different than anything else anyone has ever seen, because it's yours and it's using the best from so many different things.
Yeah, no, I think you're right, 100%. I've been doing this for, almost 30 years now, so I have definitely learned a ton along the way. I'm a student for sure of what's a better way to do things and what's possible. And, what I've been so grateful to work with the clients that I work with, from Fortune 500 companies to small, sort of startup organizations, and helping them get the results that they're looking for. So whether it's an increase in revenue, profitability, higher engagement, doing a better job of getting the right people on the team and, fully performing. It's just, I love the work that I do, because I just get to watch people thrive,
Yes.
Versus sort of just continue on their path. So it's
So
really
you
wonderful.
said you came out of the technology space in that industry.
Yeah. Yep.
What are the types of clients that you're finding that gravitate to you most frequently? Because, sometimes birds of a feather flock together, and being
Yeah.
able, sometimes a client is like, wow, I've got great results, and they talk you up to maybe a colleague. So do you find that you work in specific niches or sectors, or is it all over, because your techniques are not specific to any industry?
Well, yeah, I think, my techniques apply in any industry, but of course I do have some favorites, and I have a lot of clients that come from tech. Obviously I know a lot of people in that area, as well as just I speak the language. And so
Yeah.
that's a big, a good niche for me. I also work with a lot of pharmaceutical companies, so a lot of the major pharma companies, and a lot of healthcare organizations, as well as sports and entertainment. So those tend to be my main niches. And I'm a Vistage speaker, so I do quite a bit with Vistage groups as well. So that's another fun part of my business.
And when you have someone that initially reaches out to say, heard about you, I wonder if you could help, what are typically the most common areas that they're reaching out for? And then when you're in that initial talk, do you find that they don't even know what they don't know, where they're going, hey, we have an issue with this, and you talk through that, and then you discover something that they didn't even realize, and it's like the light bulb goes off?
Yeah, I think a lot of times when people call me, it's for a couple of things. One is it's my leaders need development. We're getting ready to do some succession planning. Some of the senior leaders in the company are going to be moving on. We need the junior leaders to step up and take over. So they need some development. Sometimes it's our leadership team isn't gelling, and they're not working together. There's maybe some competition or infighting that's not productive. And then other times it might be that, we know our team, we've got a lot of great people on the team, but they're not really working as a team. They're working more as individuals. So those are some common challenges, just our performance isn't where we want it to be. And what I find is that oftentimes, sometimes people think, I just need to know, should I keep this person or should I get rid of them? It sort of comes down to that. And so many times it's not about that at all. It's about figuring out how to get that person to engage, right, in the organization in a way where they feel like they can really contribute. And it's tweaking, some of maybe the tactics or ways that they're going about things. And it's also opening their eyes to, these other people in the organization aren't actually trying to get in your way. They're not trying to be difficult, but it's just the way that they operate. And if you can step back from judgment and appreciate, right, who the other person is and what they actually have to bring and contribute to the team, oftentimes it's not about making decisions on who stays and goes, but it's instead like, oh, wow, wait, I never thought about working with this person in this way. And if we partner together, like we could really achieve something great. And so I find that there's just a lot of, as people get to know each other, right, in a different way, on a different level, and they really start to hone their leadership skills, like performance goes up for everybody.
Yeah, I was going to ask, can you think of a specific, like a trigger that a company would go, would maybe typically overlook, but now that they're aware of this thing, that would be a catalyst, or, pun intended, for them to contact you. But your example there is perfect. So let's dive in a little bit deeper on that. Should this person stay or go? Here's the leader going, we must, potentially separate. What are some things around that would be kind of like things they should notice? Like when an employee is doing this or not doing this, what are some things that the leaders should be watching for to nip it in the bud before it becomes a big issue?
Well, I think communication is the most important thing, first and foremost. So having like an open dialogue, I think is really important. And seeking to understand prior to, things look one way from the outside. It's not always what's actually happening. Why is this person behaving in such a way? I was just talking to a client yesterday, and she was saying, at the beginning of the year, I was having all kinds of problems with this person. They were fighting with another member of the team. They're both really valuable. They're both great people. One does things one way, the other does things the other way. Neither way is better or worse. It's just the way that they operate. She said, and I was really getting to sort of the end of my rope with this person, and come to find out she was going through, some personal stuff at home, and it was sort of bleeding over into here. Now that's resolved and everything's great, and probably better than it was before. And so I think that it's having that open communication. Also, at the same time, we ended up doing the strengths assessment with her group, and that helped bring to light what each person, sort of what their talents were and how they could be leveraged more in the team. And it helped them figure out their way. So I'm going to do this, right? This is my lane, and you're going to do that. This is your lane, and then here's how we intersect. And I think that actually helped them come together in a so much better way than they ever had before.
And I think that a lot of people would go, oh, well, that sounds common sense. That we'll do that. But I don't think that people realize that they won't be able to do it as effectively as someone from the outside looking in, because you would see a more clear picture, because someone inside can't see the forest for the trees, and they might, do it, somewhat, and it's okay. And yeah, we went through the exercise, check the boxes, but it's not going to get the impact that they're looking for.
Well, here's the thing. So let's go back to the strengths assessment again. As you can tell, I'm a huge fan of this thing. The chances of someone having the same top 5 talents from this assessment as you is 1 in 33 million.
Wow.
So it's like, wow, we're all really unique. And so there's no way you could know what your uniqueness is unless you take this, because we don't even think about the things that make us strong or what our strengths are, because that's just who we are. We've always been that way. Isn't everyone that way? It's sort of the way we think. And the truth is, no, we're all totally different. And so then when you've got this more objective viewpoint of yourself, or as a leader, imagine having this for every member of your team. It is such a game changer, because there's so much more information, and you know exactly what to do, how to coach them, how to help them be more effective, and how to help them truly, contribute their greatness to the team. It's really powerful.
Yeah, that's huge. Well, let's wrap up with this, Kim, because I think we could keep on going, but I think this has been such a nice overview of some of the competitive advantages you provide and unique, approaches to your work. So when a company might be interested in just kind of dipping their toe in the water and getting to know you and see what you might be able to provide for them, what's the best way that they can reach out to you?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Well, this has been super fun, so I really appreciate being on the call with you today. So I can be reached at Kimberly, Kimberly, at aspirationcatalyst.com. You can also check out my website at www.aspirationcatalyst.com. for more information on my offerings. And I'm definitely normally out and about in the community pretty often. I'm on the board of the Better Business Bureau of Chicago. I'm on the executive committee there. Great organization, as well as very actively involved with the Executives Club of Chicago. So hopefully we'll all be out and about again sometime soon.
Very good. I agree 100%. And it was really great getting to know you. And thank you for coming on. And I appreciate you sharing your knowledge with us.
Thank you, Mike. And thanks for all that you do. So appreciate you.
You've been listening to Influential Entrepreneurs with Mike Saunders. To learn more about the resources mentioned on today's show or listen to past episodes, visit www.influentialentrepreneurssradio.com.